Alright, hello, back here. We're going to work on the crabbing boat a little bit more for Alistair's challenge. So go ahead and look in the description. You can see the details of the challenge. We're going to go ahead and grab the boat. Let's see where we left off. I want to redo the crane. I want to continue work on the crane. I also want to work on a cooling system. I might extend the boat out a little bit. I haven't decided yet. Trying to think if I want to do crane or the I want to do the crane first or cooling. So let's do the crane first. Alright, let's do this crane first. Leave that so that I can just use that. There we go. Alright, good. Let's go on this side. Thinking right here in the stanchion. Let's not be a lunatic here. A lot of this already works, so why screw with it? Do that. That should be fine there. Alright, and we're going to do an extendable crane. We'll zhuzh it up a little bit. Let's see how I want to do this crane. Track segment. Okay. Keep it a little on the simple side here. change that up and do it reverse style. So like that. Nah, that's not gonna work there. That has to hook there. Move in one block. Should be there. Let's check it. Oh, clunky looking right now. Is that on the extended alarm? I did. I put it on the extended alarm by accident. Okay. This needs to go. The side moves. Oh, Jesus Christ, what did I do? This to be the stationary piece there. Okay. Hello, Amanda. Good to see ya. Thanks for rejoining. Appreciate it. Let's see. That's all hooked up. Electricity's on, it is. Can't get a better angle on that piston. That's alright. Make sure it connects though. That's the problem. Oh. It's not gonna be a little iffy connecting that. I don't want to have to hit it to connect it. Jesus Christ, what is going on with my character? Just running off shit. Need much suspension travel on this. Why is that not extending? I got you. Okay. That'd be why. All right. Rusty. Let's see. $20 from Mando. Thank you much. Yeah, I like mechanical keyboards. Liking that crane better. Get a good, better picture. Pickup for the thumbnail. Need that much extension, so probably change a little bit. I don't know why it's extended again. Gonna fix that. WS is, it's probably have phantom forces with the piston. There we go. Throwing up the crane, probably. Extend the boat a little bit, I would say. Let's check the rules again for max length. It is hard to find this. 55 blocks, okay. Okay, 55 blocks. Alright, so this can be flipped. Start with that. clamps can be shortened. You did that for the crane. Alright. And then up, down, when it's zeroed. Up, down needs a clamp of 0. Alright, pitch. 0. Alright, good. Let's save this. I like the work we did on the crane there. So that's the current length is 42, so we can extend it out to be max on this, which is I think what I'll do. Okay, and we want to cut it here. Beautiful. All right, good. I have to move a bunch of shit around, but that's alright. Seeming a little bit stocky for my liking. I thought it was cute to be stocky, but I don't want to make it an egg build here. Where's that? Okay, that'll be the flooring there. I need to measure the new center. Right, that is now, oh shit, that's 55 right in the money. Ah, that's as long as it can be. 55, okay, that's good. So it's right in the money. I shrink it up like 2 blocks. That's what I'll do. Let's shrink it up 2 blocks. 1, 2. That way, I don't have to worry about overages later. That's 53. Just double check the width here. 19, 21's max. That works. All right. So where's the center? 53, 25, 27. So 27 blocks. So there's the center block there. Alright, check some chat, huh? How's it going, Sergeant? Good to see ya. Hello, hello. Good to see you as well. I'll turn the volume up. It's pretty simple. I look at the YouTube standards, and the YouTube standards are about negative 15 decibels, and I'm at negative 15 decibels, so that's where it's supposed to be. Turn it up if you want to turn it up. But, I'm not changing it. Let's spawn it, see where we're at here. There's a hole. There's a hole. Alright, let's see, merge that. Every time somebody says quiet, it's like, it's that YouTube standards. Go, turn it up. Right, that is all fine and dandy. Let's cover that up. I don't need that open. Okay, so let's see. Let's save that. Let's do save it as the backup. Let's not. Let's save it as the let's save it as a backup's fine. Could have saved as the other one, I guess. Rocket nozzle fuel. Let's go negative, I don't know, 10 for now. So it might not actually be a hole, it might just be the, it's heavy, too heavy now. Alright, maybe 15. I did add a lot of weight, so. Probably just a touch light on 15. Let's try 14. Looks pretty close to where it needs to be. Okay. Ah, very nice, very nice. It's good to get started and binge out on it. I like the new length. Might be a touch long, maybe I'll shorten it just a hair, but it's not bad. Alright, check out the crane. I like the new short length of the crane, because it extends pretty well too. So we'll do max. It lost the pot. Shit. I gotta get the pot. A little bit of a listing, but not too bad. I could put an active stab in there, but I don't know if I want to. Alright, what happened to the pot? Alright. I meant to check this too. Let's see. I think the boat looks a little too long now. Not too bad, actually. Maybe a touch long. Trim out 3, will be at 50. It's not bad. One, two, three. Want it to be a little stocky looking. And I'll work with. I'm gonna redo a bunch of this friggin' ballast here. I don't like how the ballast is staggered. It's being annoying to me. redo all the ballast here. Okay. Okay. $20. So 21's right there. Alright, 53 is the new. Is that the new number? What's the new number here? Let's see, what's our new number? Our new number is 50. Shit, I don't want it to be an odd size. I want it to be an odd size. It's alright. Three blocks off of that, essentially. 2 past. I gotta go 2 this direction. Okay. $14,920 there. Looks pretty good. That looks pretty good there. Gotta put in the spawners here. Spawner. And where do I want to put those is the question. Put them next to each other in the back, I guess. Let's catch up on chat here. Yeah, I haven't played with the PTOs much, but I'm looking forward to it. Alright. Little bow high, that's fine. I can extend the fuel tanks into there, that will help that. Oh, Jesus. The new CG. New CG is right about there. Okay, and then a little bit of a bow high situation here. Could put fuel in there, that would fix it. Do this, see what that does. And that's leveler. A lot of fuel, that's good. And let's go ahead and, what was I gonna do? I gotta go to save file. Save this. And then I gotta change that again for the fuel factor. Let's do 12. Now it's bow heavy. Because I need to move that rocket a couple up. Okay. Where is it? 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 Midline. There it is. Okay, and if I move this a couple, that should help. And I gotta merge it. Merge it and cause problemas. Alright, so putting fuel in the bow is not the best idea. Get rid of that. There we go. Those look pretty good. Good amount of fuel in there. Okay, that's good. Go. There's a good bit of pots there. I want to make sure it floats fine with a full contingency of pots. A little bit overburdened, but that's fine. We want that because it doesn't spend much time with full pots. Talking about yesterday, they changed the friggin' the devs made it so it was the crab pots fill very fast. I'm not a fan. They keep kind of catering to the whiny I have no patience crowd. I'm not a fan of that, but it's like whatever. Instead of bitching about it, it's like whatever. Like we were talking about yesterday, like all they have to do really is put a slider on like how long for crab pots to fill up and let you slide it. And if you have no patience, and listen, people can build whatever they want, but you know I think it's kind of silly. People build these crab boats that like they don't drop the pots like a real crab boat. Which again, play how you want, but it's I just think it's silly. Like you just put the crab pots over the side and they instantly fill up, and then you just bring them up, and it's like part of the problem is like if stuff is too easy, if it takes like 10 seconds to make money, There's no real reward in any of this, as far as I'm concerned. Like, part of the reward is, you put in the time, So, like, this is how you do pots in real life, is you would drop a pot, and it has to have time for the crab to get in there. Look, the sucker is almost already full. And then you drop the next one, and you come back. And again, I could still play this way, so it's not too much of a complaint, but it's like, they tend to cater to this, like, I have no patience crowd. And the problem is, I think they could cater to both crowds at the same time and not take away other gameplay. For example, like, the I have no patience crowd won when the fishing zones used to be everywhere. So you had, like, fishing out here, and yes, it would take you a long time to get out there. But that was the valuable fishing. So you spent a lot of time, but you got a lot of money. So there's a balance there. There's a reason to go get the money. And then the cheaper fishing's in here, and people complain, oh, all the good fishing's way out there, because they want to min-max everything. And the problem is, it's like, yeah, you could go out here and spend, say, 2 hours to go out, get the fish, come back, sell the fish. And yeah, it takes you 2 hours. And yes, you make big profits. But if you don't want to expend the time, you could make 10 trips here, make the same amount of money going back and forth with shitty cheap fish. That's your choice. But people complained, and so they wanted the best of both worlds. They wanted the really high value fish really close, so that now it completely destroys the economy. And it's like, that's the sort of shit that just drives me nuts. It's like, I wish they'd tell those people, like, nay, but they don't. I gotta fix the stability system again. Like, I would like there to actually be, like, places you have to go and migrating crab. So you actually have to go find them. But again, you get a bunch of people who, if it takes them more than 5 minutes to do something, they go, I'm bored. And it's like, oh well, and I get it. They're trying to sell to those audience of short attention span people, I get it. I think there are ways, like, for example, you make it so that, yeah, shitty, cheap crab are everywhere. And they're shitty and cheap, and that's why they're shitty and cheap, is because there's a high supply, and because there's a high supply, there's a low demand. It's shitty, cheap crab. Not a lot of people want them, but they're everywhere, so you can get them real quick and easy. And you have to sell a shitload to make any real money, but that's like the economy of garbage, and that's fine. And then if you want the really good, expensive, like, lobster, you have to go find them, and they're challenged to find, and you might spend a little bit extra time finding them and going out and getting them, but they're very high value. So one trip might take you longer, but you get more profit. Um, you know, and that allows people to have the choice of how they want to play, and allows the lower attention span people to play, and allows the higher attention span people to play. But they kind of cave to the low attention span person wants it all. They want the highest value at the lowest effort. And it's like, that's usually not how that works. It's the highest value is high value because you have to put a lot of effort into it. You have to put a lot of resources in. Generally how these things work IRL. It was kind of, it happened in Star Citizen too. It was like, people were like, oh, they wanted to be able to go buy gold in the biggest ship possible and have these short trips where they go and make huge profits in like 10 minutes. It's like, there's a reason why gold is very profitable. There's not a lot of it, and it's hard to get. You gotta go dig it up out of the ground. There's a reason why, for example, medical waste is very cheap, because there's a lot of medical waste. Nobody wants it. It's hard to get rid of. And so it's like, for example, in Star Citizen, it would make sense for you to go and either get trash in huge quantities, put it in a huge ship. It's worth very little per ton of trash, but you have this big ship, and because you have economies of scale, you can fill a huge ship full of trash and still make a profit. Or you could take a tiny little ship, put, 1 ton of gold in it, and make, essentially the same profit margin. And it was your choice. How do you want to play? Do you want to play in big volumes with big ships, moving low value goods, or do you want to, move small volumes of high value goods for, essentially the same profit margins? Ah, Sergeant, member for 23 months. Very nice. Yep. Indeed. Gotta work on my stability system. The bow is lifting up a little bit. Oh, the bow was lifting up extra. It's actually not too bad. The bow was lifting up extra because all the pots are in the back, but I do need to add more fins to the front. That made the ship longer. Currently going about 20 knots. I got this going faster than it needs to. Has it been up there the entire time and nobody's told me that the thumbnail was on there? Or did I do it recently? Literally, I've been streaming for an hour and nobody told me the thumbnail was up. Let me look. No, I must have clicked it recently. When did I click it? Let me look. Did it do it itself? Oh. When the fuck did it do that? Okay, so it's only been for like the last 5 minutes. Okay. Yeah, it did it by itself when I went and did it by itself when I went and made the thumbnail. Huh. Weird. Got a little phantom force off the crane, but it's not too bad. because I'm using the hinge and the strut there. That's the most. Bitch! I gotta get back. Yeah, see, like these pots. So this is how I like to play more realistically, like how you would actually crab. Now it's still going to be shorter than it would IRL. Like you might have to wait hours. Now nobody's advocating for that, you know. But you know, I think it's silly to make them fill as quickly as they do, you know. Yeah, that was annoying when you flashed the light in people's eyes. Should take bets on how long we think before one of the viewer bots sends a message on Discord, on Twitch rather. Yeah, I would really like the devs to work on the economy of the game. That's something that is important to me. I know some other people are interested in it too, but it's like, for me, like, making the economy better would help, I think, with longevity of gameplay. Like, some people want stories. I don't give a shit about stories, but again, I would, you know, if they want to add it, I would be opposed to it because it would make it fun for those people, and I don't want to, you know, those people should have some fun too. But like the thing for me is like fixing the economy of fishing would help. Fixing the economy of mining would help. It would, like, gold is completely unprofitable, and it makes it so there's no reason to do gold. I think you want to have a reason to do everything. Is always good. And so, you know, gold should be the most time consuming with the highest amount of profit. This, so the way these pots work, I talked about it yesterday, is they work off the electricity off the crane. The problem is I have infinite electricity on now, so when the buoy is out of the water, it automatically makes the winch on the pot draw in. And so when you put, so the way you launch these is you put the buoy underwater, and it will pay out as much cable until you either A, disconnect it, or B, it comes out of the water. And so that allows it to only put out as much cable as is required for the depth of the water. So it auto depths, which is kind of cool, but infinite electricity needs to be off because it part of it's functioning off of the crane not having electricity anymore. So this is how you do pots IRL: is you know, you lay out a string of pots where the crab is. Now, I get why the devs decided to put crab everywhere, but I wish they hadn't. Or like, I think it would be fine if they did the really, like, the really low value crab are everywhere, and then like lobster are in certain locations. So you have to go to those locations to get lobster. You know, and so one thing I would like to see, for example, let's say the devs picked an area. So lobster tends to be a cold water, you know, not super cold water, but like coldish water. So somewhere up here, maybe it'd have to be permanent islands that don't move. Like maybe in here is really good lobstering, and so it takes you a little while to get out there. you get the lobster, you come back in, and then you get profit off that. Say Alaskan king crab, only up in the Arctic. So there's a reason to go to the Arctic. Now, if Alaskan king crab is abundant in the Arctic, again, that's high supply. You have not a lot of people living in the Arctic, so low demand, big supply, low demand, or yeah, big supply, low demand, low prices. So Alaskan crab would sell for almost nothing up here because there's a lot of it, not a lot of people, not a lot of consumers. The price would be like nothing. So you pretty much you'd lose money trying to sell Alaskan crab here. So what would you do? You would get Alaskan crab, you would, or snow crab, whatever you want to call it. You would come here to this dock. You would offload your crab. You would load it onto an airplane. You would fly this crab down to FJ. Now or any of these other airports, right? So now you're coming into more populated areas, which means demand is up. The distance, right, means supply is low, right? Because you have to put all that crab either on a big ship and ship it all the way down, or in an airplane and fly it down. So the demand is high, the supply is low, therefore the price is high. So the price for a snow crab would be very high down here. This is a desert. There are some cities. Those would be the only places where the demand is high, and you could fly it down here, and maybe there's a little bit of a different price structure. There's only a couple places that would want to buy it down here because it's a desert. Not too many people live down here. So that's kind of the things that would make sense. So, like, I think if they got into farming, for example, you'll notice that farming, where do people tend to farm? In areas with low population densities. So you have areas with wide open expanses, low population densities. And so the inverse would be true. So, like, say right here, there's not a lot of people living. There's not a lot of people living in the desert. So you could have the bison and cow down here. You would farm, say, bison and cow. There's high supply, lowish demand, right? There's low demand. Not too many people live in the desert. Plus, because the cow is in high abundance and the supply is up, the price is low. So you wouldn't get much for cow here. There's a lot of people, high demand. It's not that long of a travel time, so you get kind of a moderate price for cow and meat here. Let's just say meat. And then up here, right, you're not going to be able to grow chickens in the Arctic. You're not going to be able to grow cows in the Arctic. You're not going to be able to grow any food items in the Arctic, right? Vegetables. So the supply would be almost nothing up here, right? And the demand would be very high from the people who live here. Not a ton of people live here, but you get the best prices. So what would you do? You do some crabbing of snow crab. You fly it down. You sell it here. Maybe you fly down here. You pick up some meat where it's cheapest. You fly it back up here and you sell the meat. Bingo. You've got yourself a really profitable route structure, but it requires you to fly an airplane, put it on a truck, put it on a boat, bring it, make deliveries, and that, gives you all the engineering you need. And that's the point of the game, is to engineer solutions to these problems. So having the ability to take it from a boat to a plane to a train to, that's the sort of thing I think is where the game is at its best, is doing that. So that's what I would like to see them do. And I don't think it's all that challenging. You pretty much the desert is cheap land, right? You can make cheap farmland where you have to buy the farms to put the cows on. Like, you could do pre-made paddocks so that, it's easier. I think that would be the best idea for the devs to do, is just do like pre-made paddocks. And so you go buy this paddock where cows spawn, chickens spawn, bison, whatever animals, pigs you want to do spawn. And so the land is very cheap because nobody lives there. Nobody wants that desert land. You have to go up to maybe this area where it's lush and it grows vegetables really easily. You have to go up here, get some vegetables, bring them down here, You put vegetables into your hopper, and that is what the animals eat out of, is a hopper, right? You don't have to really do too much changing. So you go up, get vegetables, put it on a plane, put it on a train, put it on a truck, put it on a boat, bring it down, put that in your hoppers at your farm, and as long as your cows have something to eat, over time you get more cows. You turn the cows into meat, you bring them up to areas where they need meat. And I think that would be a cool way to have an economy and really get into the actual elements of building, because you'd have to build transportation for your farm animals. You'd have to build transportation for your vegetables. And it allows you, as you go get vegetables, right, and you dump your vegetables off, well, now you switch the trailer on your truck from a vegetable carrier to an animal carrier, and you go sell the animals up at certain spots where the animals are most prevalent or where they're most needed, you know, and then you can go and do the same thing with crab and stuff like that. And then I would like to see them, for example, you have this big desert area here where the most mines are, right? You have an iron mine, you have an aluminum mine, and you're going to have areas that are going to want iron. Well, they might need some iron down in this desert, but not a lot of people live there. So where they need metal, well, they need metal in the areas where people live. So now you take your metal and you put it on a train and you bring it up here. And so yes, you could take iron and you could turn it into iron ingots and you could turn it into steel and you could sell it here. Or you could take the finished ingots and you could sell it for more money up here, you know. And I think that's a cool way to really get into the economies of it and make it so that, you know, you want to go transport things places because they're worth more money as finished goods. And a lot of games have done that, like Transport Tycoon's done that. Tons of games have done that where, yes, you can sell them as pretty unrefined, basic goods, but you don't get that much money. You put in very little effort, you get very little reward. And you put in more effort, you get more reward, and that makes it so that you feel like it's worth expanding your gameplay, getting into more time spent. For example, you know, if you have to go out there, get some lobster, get it off your boat, put it on a truck. After you put the lobster on the truck, you then have to unload it off the truck onto a plane, fly it down, put it on a truck, go deliver it. That takes some time, and so your timer's rewarded with more money. You know, that's the sort of stuff that I think would really make the game, give it some depth. Yeah, I'd like to do some multiplayer stuff. I love mining, still my favorite in game. I really wish they'd fix the economy for it. Did I just set this pot? I don't know why I'm still paying this out. That's good to go. So there's a good sized boat. This fits this long gang of pots here, and so we've done essentially what? How many do we have out? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 pots. So we have 9 pots. We've taken in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've taken in 5, and we have. So 9 divided by 5 equals 8 is 1.8 times 31 mud crab. So 50, say 55 mud crab and 17, so 30. So about 80 total crab in one string. So that's not bad. That doesn't take that long. Yeah, that's some of the stuff I'd like to see the devs do, is if they could really get an economy going, I think it's the best way to operate it. Makes the game more dynamic, it gives you more to do, it gives you bigger risk rewards, so, you know, part of it is like, I keep seeing from a daily basis, like, people like, you know, I'm bored, there's nothing to do. It's like, there's plenty to do. A lot of people just lack imagination, but also, like, one way they can help with this is by, you know, some of these people, they need to be taken by the hand to get this to, you know, get this stuff to work for them. And oh shit, you know what I bet it was? I might not even need this. I think I deleted the physics sensor is what I did. Let's try it without doing that. See where the physics sensor is. I bet I deleted the physics sensor. Yeah, that's what I did. I deleted the physics sensor. Alright. That's all I did was delete the physics sensor. That's why it was having stability problems. Let's save it up. Yeah, animagraphs are cool. You know, and I know people will say, you know, about what the devs could do to the game, like, oh, this would be easy to completely rewrite the physics of the game, or this would be easy to completely rewrite all this, or, oh, it'd be easy to put deforming panels in the game, or, oh, it'd be, like, that stuff is not easy, but it's like, to go in here and say, okay, snow crab spawn in this area. That's, I would actually say, easy. Shitty crab that are worth almost nothing spawn in this area close to the land. So even do it closer if you want. Do it within this grid area here. Shitty, you know, crab that aren't worth anything spawn here because it's close to a population center. They're worth nothing. You know, shitty crab are worth nothing. If you go out up to the Arctic where the population is low, snow crab spawns here. You put the sell point. So every fish sell point here, snow crab is worth $1. Snow crab is worth $10. Snow crab is worth $5. Okay, real simple to do. I think that is actually really, truly simple to do. Yep, lots of snow crab, not worth anything because there's lots of snow crab, not a lot of people. A lot of people, no snow crab spawns down here, so therefore the snow crab is very valuable. Not a lot of people, no snow crab. Snow crab is worth 5 because the demand is low. High demand, low supply, high value. Medium demand, no supply, medium value. High supply, low demand, low value. Real simple economics that informs how you play. You know, it'd be a lot of fun. You go out, you grab some snow crab, you come in, you unload your snow crab, you drive it up with a truck, you load it on your airplane, you fly your airplane down to any of the airports, put it up back on a truck, drive it up to sell it, bingo, big cash. Right, and that lets you use your boat, it lets you design pots, it lets you design a truck that can either move pallets of fish or just has an internal supply of, you know, in this case, snow crab. You then have to load it onto an airplane. You fly it down. You then have to load it back onto your truck. You spawn your truck, load it on, despawn your plane, drive it, sell it. Bingo, that loop gives you some depth in your gameplay. You know, and then like we're talking, you know, the same thing with meat. You have a low population with a very high, you know, a low population. You have no supply of meat. That causes the price to go up. You know, you're not going to be able to sell tons of it. You know, they tried this with surge pricing. What I think the better thing to do is you count population. So this area has a low population. So maybe because of the low population, give it a number. Say this area up here only has 1,000 people. So as soon as you put 1,000 meat in here, every, I don't know, say minute, you gain a meat back. So if you come up here and you deliver 1,000 meat, it will take you 1,000 minutes for it to get back, right? So that's going to take you, that's too much. That's 16 hours. 16 hours. Well, you could do it 16 hours in game time, right? So that's half a day. So as long as you get half a day, you could bring meat back up, right? And then, so for example, here you have a medium supply of meat because only certain areas, that maybe there's one farm, because a lot of this is either rugged mountains or it's population centers. So there's not a lot of available farmland, and it's very, very expensive. So say you could buy a farm here and it cost you $1 million, right? You buy a farm for $1 million, that's great. You can have your you have vegetables, right? It's very easy to get the vegetables from here to your farm, so then you can get your meat from here to, say, there's Holt Town right here. Let's say that's a really good place to sell meat. So you get your vegetables. It's a short drive to your farm. So you buy the vegetable farm. You get your vegetables. You drive it to your cow farm. Your cows eat the vegetables and your chickens and everything else. You then get your meat and you drive it to here and sell it. That's a reasonably short thing, right? But the downside is the land is very expensive here. So it's reasonably short. Drive from here to here, drive from here to here, make a big profit. But the input cost to buy your farm is very high. Or you could buy a farm down here in the middle of nowhere. Not a lot of people live here. It's kind of rugged terrain. Maybe your cows require twice the amount of water, so you have to go get water, desalinate the water. That would give us a reason for desalination. So you go desalinize the water, you give it to your cows, but you have to give them double the amount of water because you're in the desert, so that's the down thing. But the land here costs maybe $250, so it costs you a quarter of the input costs. The other negative is you have to go all the way up here to get crops. You can do it by train if you want. You could do it by truck. You could do it by plane. But you have to get your crops down here to feed your animals. And then you get your... So as you're bringing crops back, right, to feed your animals, well, then you put your meat on the plane or train or truck or whatever, and then you bring it back up here. And it's worth a lot of money. And so the input costs are low here, but the distances are greater. So I think that would be a lot of fun. Hey, there's the spam from what do you call it? Twitch. Let's block this jackass for being a bot. Alright, good. Yeah, let me try to catch up with chat. I was reading all about everybody's PC hardware. That was the last I was seeing. No, Animagraphs is right. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, and that's the sort of thing that I think is kind of cool. Like, that's one reason I'm big into the pallets. I did a video on how I think the devs should put in pallets, because, like, it would be really cool. They could make some cosmetic missiles, right? And where do the cosmetic missiles have to go? The military island, right? So the military island needs missiles. Well, where do they make the missiles? Well, they have a bunch of, like, industrial areas that aren't being used for anything. So you say, I'm trying to see. Trying to see. You need like a factory. You know, they have a bunch of like industrial areas. Let's see. Like you have this industrial area up here, right? The cast storage facility. Graved, that's a truck stop. You're not making them there. But anyways, you have some sort of factory. Here's Karn Industries factory. All right, Karn Industries factory. All right, this is, they made those trailers. I'm not a huge fan of them. You have to use Sibtat. I'm not using Sibtat. Not interested in Sibtat. But if they made pallets that we could load on trains, trucks, ships, kind of like containers but pallets, and then also make smaller containers. Like, say this facility here would put out 3 pallets of missiles. Well, the missiles have to go from here to here. Okay, so you could do what a lot of people are going to do if they want to play this way. Great. They fly a helicopter in here. They load the helicopter with that with the missile pallets, and they fly the pallets of missiles up to wherever their military island is, deliver them here, bing, profit, right? They can make them, out of bomb pieces. So if you accidentally bang them into a bunch of stuff, you blow up, right? That's a cool thing to do, right? If the G-forces are too high, it blows up. So if you slam your helicopter into the ground, boom, you explode, right? That's kind of a cool thing. They could do that in about an afternoon, right? Make a quick pallet with the bombs, with the missiles, with bomb parts. They can make bombs. And if the G-forces are too high, it blows up. So that's kind of a cool story thing. Or if you want to put them on an airplane, you load them on a truck, you drive them down to the airfield, you load them onto an airplane, you fly the airplane up to the military island, you offload them. Bingo, big monies, right? High risk because they could blow up if you can't fly for shit or you can't land for shit. And, so high risk, high reward. That's good gameplay there. You could have, for example, you would have Screech's trading yard, right? Not only can you sell some of the ores here, but every once in a while a couple pallets pop up of metal that might be needed somewhere. And so you get a bunch of steel pallets, and they need to go somewhere. They need to go up to, I don't know, wherever the Christ you want to put them. This town, maybe they're building something. Maybe they need to go to, that's too close, but Karn's Industry Factory. Now, because they're close, you could say, okay, a pallet going from Screech's trading yard to Karn Industries of aluminum to build those bombs, or steel to build the bombs. The distance is short, so you don't get a lot of money, but the distance is short, so you can do them all the time. So you would go to K-Strom's, you would launch a truck, you go pick up the metal, you go bring it over here, drop it off, back and forth, back and forth. Short trips, low money, but because you can do a lot of trips. And that would appease the people who have no patience for downtime. And so you just go back and forth and do that. So they could come up with some cool stuff with that. Let me check some of my massages here. Alright, let's check some chat here. Probably not going to play for too long. Let's go check where we left off. I think I'll probably call it here. Let me go. I'm going to take it out one quick time, make sure the stability system, now that it has the physics sensor back, is working all right. So that bow shouldn't be sticking up as much now. So I made the boat a little bit longer. We could carry how many pots we carry there? 12? No, 9 pots. We can carry 9 pots. Yeah, the stability system's working fine. It was just the physics sensor got deleted. So we got 9 pots on there, so that's good. Yeah, I put a post on Reddit, and literally somebody just answered. That's what I was doing there, answering the post. And literally, my point completely went over their head. Is you... I'll even bring it up. Here. And it's actually on this very topic of what we were just talking about. It's so this person made one button crabbing. Now again, people play however they friggin' want, but I think it's such a... It's just like they kind of miss the point, and then it's this very same people you see later are bored. They're like, I'm bored. And it's like, yeah, you didn't do anything for the risk, the reward, the amount of time you spent on it was almost nothing, and you got a huge reward for it, so it devalues things. It's like, if gold was everywhere, it would be worth nothing. The reason why gold is valuable is because it's rare, and you got to have a lot of heavy machinery to go underground, which is risky. You need a lot of people that you need to pay them a salary, and because of that, the risk, the reward, the input cost is high. Therefore, the gold is valuable. There's not a lot of it. Low supply, high demand, very valuable. And so it's worthwhile spending all this time, machinery, people, effort, danger to get gold because the value is so high because of all those things, right? Garbage, it's everywhere, right? Nobody wants it. The demand is low. The supply is high. It's everywhere. It's easily accessible. So garbage is worthless, right? So kind of my point, So like this person here, they're talking, they made this rig. I get it. It's good ingenuity, but I think, it's silly to me when people don't play realistically, but they can play however they want. But this is silly to me. You have, tons and tons of these pots, and the reason why this is even viable, so what they're going to do is lower these over the sides, drop them down. They're going to almost instantly fill with crab because the devs changed it for these very people who waiting more than 5 minutes was, so let's see how long they've waited, 55 seconds. And after 55 seconds, they have all these full pots that they pressed literally one button and now dumped them all into their storage. It's going nuts because the design's not great, but they just merged them together. They wouldn't do that. But you see how they have 61 crab in essentially 55 seconds. So you saw how, like, the way I was doing it, I was doing 80 crab, and it would have taken me, like, 20 minutes at least. And so this sort of stuff I'm not a huge fan of. So I put a comment, I wish the devs would add proper soak time. So soak time is you put the pot out. Most of the crab and lobsters, it's one of the fisheries that they don't overfish too much because the crab and the lobsters make it into the pot, they eat some of the bait, they get out of the pot, and so you happen to just catch the ones that were still in the pot by the time you get to them. And so, this is kind of the thing that's silly is, to me. And so, like, I put a comment, so, like, this person goes, no need, I did the same boat with fixed intervals, auto timers, and auto suction as it parked at the fish vendor. So literally what they're doing is sitting under the fish vendor and just vacuuming up. They're just constantly vacuuming up the crab that's just literally, bringing it from right under the vacuum, which is a bad game design. And so he goes, he parked it at the fish vendor, literally went for groceries, pressed 0 buttons, as all automated, made more money than the current U.S. defense budget. So he did nothing. There was no effort, and no time expenditure really. And so, like, my comment here is, then why not just turn on infinite money at that point? Like, if you're not going to put in any effort, if there's no, then all you have to do is literally go in the game file and give yourself 100 grand. I think that's a better way to do it. Like, if you want to go build a cruise ship and that's what you want to do in game, why bother if you're just going to print the money and go to the grocery store? Just give yourself the money, you know? Yeah, and that's like my comment. I just don't get the point of the game if you're going to make money printers, no challenge, no reward. And then the person goes, the money is the reward. I understand the money is the reward. It's the point is you should have to work for the money. The crab spawn everywhere and too risky. The risk-reward investment is very low. The reward is very high. You might as well just edit your save file, right? At that point. Just edit your save file, and obviously, there's a lot of people who agree with having proper soak times because it has one of the highest updates of the of that thread. We were talking about it yesterday. Is like I don't really want to poo-poo on other people's gameplay. If you want, put a slider on there how often crabs spawn. But I think the game would have much more depth. And this is the problem: is these are the very same people who do these money printers. And then I'm bored. Of course you're bored. You literally made a vehicle that goes out there. You literally press one button, which is not much to do. You don't get any expertise. You don't gain any skills by pressing one button. And then it gives you huge amounts of return. You had very little risk, very little risk there, very little input cost because you have one small vehicle with a minimal amount of equipment. There's very little risk because, like, you're not going to lose one of your pots. You're not going to have to go diving down for a lost pot that broke. You don't have to invest much time. You literally go out there for 10 seconds and you get all this huge money. So all the things that make things worth something in real life, that also make something worth something in game, you don't bother doing, and then the very same people 2 seconds later will say, I'm bored. Of course you're bored. You took all the things out of it that make it rewarding, So, kind of my little rant there. Yeah, it's like, same thing. Ace makes up a good one. You'll see every once in a while on Reddit somebody posts, look, I unlocked this money hack. I literally drag a hose from this base over to the sell point and make money. So, like, they'll drag a hose from, it used to be, I think, this island here. You could literally drag the hose from the fuel buy to the fuel sell, put a long hose, and just print money. Okay, I can print money too. Watch, I'll print money right now. We'll print a little money. So you do display cap. I'll go to my game file, and I will go to my, where's my money here? At that point, why don't you just do this, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, look at all that money I'm printing. Like, if you're just going to let the game sit there and print money, why not just do this? Like, I don't see, like, how is that fun to just sit there and watch the number go up when you could just, like, go in your thing and do this? Like, if you don't really actually want to go crabbing, well, just go like that. Give yourself some more money. Go do the thing you want to do. I think that's a much better way to do it. It just doesn't make sense to me why people, like, think that's such a cool thing to just go, like, cheat up the money. Just go add the money to your game. Like, I don't think it's a big deal to say, hey, I don't enjoy early gameplay. If you don't enjoy early gameplay, okay, well, give yourself the money to enjoy the gameplay you want. So if you built this huge, big ship that cost you $250,000, and that's the thing that will make the game enjoyable for you, go edit your save file, give yourself $250,000, spawn your big ship, and go out and play with your big ship that you enjoy. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And then you can go try to make some money with that big ship, Yeah, balancing the career mode's not their strong point. I think they should be able to do it, you know. And I think, you know, what I talked about is a real simple way to do it, right? You have trash you have trash crab and trash fish close to the island. So the people who have very little patience to spend more than 5 minutes fishing or that. So, and this is how it is in real life, right? You have some trash, shitty fish that's right off the docks here. And so what do? You come off the dock with your fishing boat. You go fish, 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 fish. Dut, 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 sell, fish. Dut, 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 fish, 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 fish. Dut, 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 sell, fish. And then what happens? Well, these people here like to eat fish, right? So, yes, there's trash fish that is garbage, that tastes like shit, that is very easy and abundant to get. And people just go out, they get the fish, they put it here, the fish now goes into the village. But because it's so close and it's so abundant, and because it's a cheap, shitty fish, you have to get hundreds of thousands of fish to make any money doing this. So you go here, you get to have fish, you get that instant gratification where people with limited patience, you know, strive for. That's fine. Build your fishing vessel, fish the shitty fish. And sometimes I like to do that. Go out, fish for 20 minutes, come back in, dump it off, go do something else. That's a very valid gameplay. It's fine. Come here, get the shitty cheap fish, go back, sell it. So have a couple of those. Have some shitty cheap fish right here by Holt Town. You come down, you do it, sell the fish. You have some shitty cheap fish by North Harbor. But if you want to get the good expensive fish, you have to go out on your ships. You have to go out there. So one, input cost. You need a big ship in order to be able to go out into the open ocean. When you get out in the open ocean, the storms and the waves get big, right? So you need a big enough ship that can survive the storms. You also need a big enough capacity of fish so that, you know, if you're going to go out there and it's going to take you an hour, 30 minutes, whatever, to get out to your fishing grounds, you need a big enough supply of fish storage on board so that when you come back with the fish, it covers the cost of the ship, it covers the cost of the crew, it covers the cost of the fuel to go out there, right? This doesn't take much fuel to go from here to here, right? So the fish doesn't pay very well. Small amount of fuel, small amount of pay. Small boat because you don't need to go out in the open ocean, right? So cheap boat, cheap pay, right? Small amount of time the crew has to invest, right? It takes you literally 3 minutes to get out here. So and 3 minutes out, 3 minutes back, 10 minutes fishing. And so it's a small time investment. You don't get a lot of money. But you go out here to the good fishing grounds that take you maybe an hour to go out there, fish till the ship is full, come back, you get a good amount of money. You go way the fuck out here, you get huge amounts of money from the fish, but you need a really big ship to make it worthwhile. It needs to be reasonably fuel efficient, so you have to engineer it. You go out, you get the really good fish, you fill up your big boat and come back. You know, that's kind of what I wish the devs would stick to their guns on that. They originally had really good value fish way the hell out here, but they caved to some pressure. So what they should have done is close to land, cheap, shitty fish. For a little bit further out, better fish. Really far out, really good fish. Up here, you don't have a ton of people, so once you get 1,000 fish sold, it takes a certain, every minute or whatever, you get one more fish back. You know, so 1,000 minutes or, 1,000 minutes, now you have full supply. So you bring your fish, your ship in with 1,000 fish, sell it, you get all that money, you go back out, you go fill it up again. Only 250 fish have recuperated, so now you can only sell 250 fish to here. So maybe you go out, you do 1,000 fish, you go back in, you get on an airplane, you go do some other stuff, and then later, say days later in game, you go back here and you can fish again. You know, I think that would be a good and pretty reasonably easy thing to do. That's kind of like the people always complaining too about how slow the fuel, how slow it is to sell your oil in the tanker. I understand it, but it's like I've never had problems making money with oil. Like literally, I usually use this deposit. I take my, you guys have seen me doing the career build series where I drive my trucks out. I go pick up with the trucks, drive my trucks back, put it in the internal base storage here, and then I'll load a small amount of fuel, like literally maybe 4,000 liters of jet fuel, and I'll fly the 4,000 liters of jet fuel up here, and then I'll go and I will despawn the plane, so the jet fuel is now in this base, and then I'll take my mini truck, drive my mini truck over, and I hook the pump up, and I pump from here to here, and I sell my jet fuel. And I make huge amounts of money. I make like 40,000 doing that. And so every once in a while, when I need a little cash, I just fly it up. You know, and if you wanted, okay, we'll do a big tanker, drive the tanker up here, dock the tanker, sell it, and literally you're going to be making huge amounts of money just printing money, which is fine, but it takes you a long time because you had to move a boat. You know. Yeah, like ACC is saying, there's no reason to go to the Arctic. I think they could very easily add some. One thing that gives me some hope too is the devs have been adding things from the Q&A. Like I know Sargent was really into the PTOs. I was as well. We both have asked on the Q&As for PTOs, and guess what? The devs said it was a good idea at the time when they read our questions or our comments, and they implemented it in the game. So. You know, they are receptive. They do add these things. It takes time. But one thing they were receptive to that I really thought would be good is add a container base right here. The ability to buy and sell containers here. And what that allows you to do is you can buy some containers that are from Tajin, and you can sell them at BVG, which is also a container port. You could grab some containers for Tajin. So that allows you to do that short gameplay, back and forth, back and forth. If you really have no patience to take a boat this short distance, you can take a helicopter. And what I would like is, let's say one of the containers will pop up, hey, it's going to FJ Warner. Okay, maybe there's two. So what do? I grab my truck, I drive the container up here, I load it on a plane, go back, get the other container, drive it up, load it on a plane, then I fly my airplane down to FJ Warner, and I make big money on those containers. That's a lot of fun. I enjoy doing that. You know, and it gives airplanes some use. So they seem pretty receptive to that. Delta has said that seemed like a good idea in the Q&A. All right, guys, I think we're going to finish it up here. Good progress on the boat here. I still need to put a cooling system in at some point. This type of boat doesn't need much of a robust cooling system because it's you're driving a little bit, you're stopping, you're driving a little bit, you're stopping. But thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, give it a like. If you're new and you enjoyed it, consider subscribing. Go check out Alistair's challenge. There's a link down in the description. And I'll see you guys in the next one.